I'm here today to talk to you about a quiet yet powerful force that impacts our lives, our workplaces, and society: cognitive dissonance. See, humans, we're masters at self justification, but in reality, we all feel discomfort when our behavior and our beliefs don't match. That discomfort, that tension, that's cognitive dissonance. Leon Festinger coined the term in 1957, but sociologists have since expanded it, recognizing that it's not just psychological, but it's sociological because it's sociologically created, so it can be sociologically resolved. So today, I'm going to give you a sociological framework to understand cognitive dissonance, as it's important for us as leaders and change agents. Sociologists recognize that we don't form our beliefs and behavior in isolation. We form our beliefs and behaviors dependent upon the roles we occupy, the groups we belong to, and the cultural messages that we have internalized. So envision the workplace hierarchy. We have employees who see themselves as ethical and they believe in fairness, yet they remain silent when they see favoritism or discrimination. Why? Because of the role they occupy. They're a junior staff member. They don't feel they have a place to speak up. But their silence and their values clash, causing dissonance. And they tell themselves, in order to justify that, well, maybe they didn't mean it that way, or it's not my place to say anything. This has serious implications for institutions, and we see it again and again. Cognitive dissonance impacts our lives in ways that we don't even realize. It's so important for us to understand that in the workplace, employees need to feel that sense of belonging. And in order to belong, they need to feel safe. And psychological safety has a lot to do with that, as well as that cognitive dissonance. So, as we think about cognitive dissonance and we think about how we gain it, what do we do when we experience it? Reality is that oftentimes people don't disrupt the structures, but we tend to change the narrative and we accept it. And that's problematic because we go along to get along. When in reality, when we see unjust things, we need to say something. So, in the sociological world, we recognize that we have power. And in institutions, we need to do everything we can to change the norms. We should recognize when we see differences that we need to call it out for what it is, that we need to understand that the world is a diverse place, that people have different perspectives, people have different ideologies, and they have different lived experiences. And they bring all of that with them into the workplace. So it's imperative that we address this dissonance. Well, how do we do that? When we experience dissonance, we have to decide, do we lean in and do we challenge our behavior in order to change the unjust structure? Or do we numb our behavior, our discomfort, and just justify our beliefs as being just the way things are? So you have to decide as an organizational leader, looking at attrition rates, looking at high turnover rates, how is this impacting organizations? We know that younger generations are not sticking around when they feel uncomfortable. They're leaving the workplace. And this is the work for us as leaders and change agents. We have to recognize that when we change policies, that some people will be uncomfortable. Say we decide now we're going to start using diverse hiring panels. We're going to consider looking or reevaluating our promotion criteria. That's going to make some people feel uncomfortable, particularly those who have benefited from old systems. Even people who intellectually agree with fairness and inclusion may feel discomfort, and that's okay. But we have to give them a space and what organizational theorists call a holding pattern to process that information, to feel safe in that space, to understand that that discomfort is okay to stay in it, to work through it, to process it. As leaders, it's our jobs to model the behavior that we want and to provide our employees with spaces where they can feel that discomfort and not be ridiculed and not be talked poorly about, but to give them an opportunity to explore concepts that are new to them. Eduardo Bonilla Silva calls this racism without racists. We have people who believe in egalitarian ideology but won't say anything when they see unjust action take place. Why? Because they need to belong. That sense of belonging is so important to them. They are willing to sacrifice sharing with others that they're not pleased with the situation. They'll go along to get along. And this is problematic. This creates toxic work environments where people don't feel safe. We also have to understand that as leaders, we are ultimately responsible for the culture of our organization. If we create workplaces where inclusivity matters, where people understand that they bring value to the table, whether they're a new employee or a seasoned employee, they're more willing to open up and share with us new ideals and perspectives, things we have not thought about before. And this is why it's so important to think about cognitive dissonance, that tension, that discomfort, when we experience it, because we need to sit in it. We need to call it what it is, and we need to work through it. So, with that, my call to you is when you feel that your values, your beliefs, and your behaviors don't match, what do you do? Do you lean in, try to adjust the structures that are recreating this inequality? Or do you sit back and just accept the status quo? As leaders, it is our job to adjust the environment so that our organizations can be inclusive and prosperous. Thank you.